La Cunada, thank you. It's spelled Canada.
There's the little tilde.
I saw
There's
that.
supposed to be a tilde on the end.
Say it one more time.
A tilde?
No, the
La Cunada.
La Cunada. Thank you, Chiron.
Yeah. There's supposed to be a tilde on the end, but the problem is all the maps, all search engines, if you put the tilde on the end, it doesn't track. If you try to put that in for billing information, it doesn't know how to register it.
Wow.
So I always put it as Law Canada. And
I think that makes it easier for people.
It does. It does make it a lot easier for people.
How's the pickleball in that town?
We have actually, 3 years ago, we were planning on building 2 courts there, and so far, 3 years later, we have built a total of 0 courts. And so we went through a whole entire process where it's very difficult. It's a very kind of small, close, tight-knit community and a very big tennis thing, so it's very hard to kind of get a pickleball court, especially a permanent pickleball court there. There's been lots of talks, a lot of bids, but nothing has really came through. But about 20 minutes away in 2 different directions, there's Farnsworth Public Park, and that's where I began my pickleball career. That's where I played most of my early days. And then about 20 minutes the other way is called Allendale. That's another public park, and that is probably one of the higher level public parks in all of California, probably. And then
Is that where you play with your dad?
Yeah, that's where I play with my dad. Me and my dad play together there. We play at Farnsworth. He's kind of a local legend at Farnsworth.
Oh, wow.
I go, it's funny because I go there and they're like, oh, you're so good. Who are you here? I'm like, oh, my dad lives here. They're like, who's your dad? I'm like, Mike. They're like, Mike Burl? I'm like, oh my goodness, he's a celebrity.
What makes him a legend?
Me and him started together, but he's very athletic. He goes for a lot of fancy plays. He goes for Ernie's, goes for ATPs, goes for running, jumping, backhand poaches.
I've still never got to meet your dad. I hope I get to meet Michael someday.
You will. I should have tagged you. He was here a couple months ago. The whole family was here. Me, him, my brother, and my mom were playing.
No, your brothers too. I still haven't met.
I know. It's very fun. I think Christmas.
Are they playing pickleball yet, your brothers?
One of them, yeah, they both do. One of them has actually started playing a little bit more.
Ooh.
But they'll all be here. The whole entire Burl Brigade is going to be here on Christmas, and we're going to come in here. We're going to have a round robin, and I'm going to try and set up something for everybody. So hopefully I'll have you come. I'm going to try and get Dwayne. I'm going to try to have the whole, there's 12 of us, including us and all of our boyfriends and girlfriends.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It should be awesome.
Christmas party pickleball.
Exactly.
Okay. You went to school to become an engineer?
Yeah, I went to UCLA for electrical engineering.
Okay. And how are you applying that to pickleball? I'm sure you're finding parallels somewhere.
Yeah, so I think I was not the biggest fan of my major, and I mean that's why I'm doing pickleball.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't very much enjoy a lot. I was very kind of bored. I didn't really enjoy a lot of the math associated with it. College wasn't the best time for me. But I do think pickleball, and one of the reasons I love it so much, one of the reasons I love chess so much, is it's very much you can come at it with an engineering mindset where you constantly are every game you constantly are testing something, then you try something out, either works or it doesn't, and every time you kind of mess up, every time you have a failure or something, you can take that and you kind of build information into your own game, your own strategy. And so I think that same kind of way that it's like chess. I love playing chess.
Yeah, I see the parallel with chess for sure.
Yeah.
Especially playing against you. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, and I think that same kind of mindset, especially I think coaching more than anything, is where engineering, where you have to really kind of see it, analyze people's mechanics, analyze what is caught, not just why someone missed, not just that they missed, but what caused the miss. Seeing the kind of underlying cause, seeing all the different, how everything kind of combines together.
Yeah, in my life, anytime I've studied anything, even if I end up not using it for that purpose, you always end up using it somewhere else. It's never a waste of time.
Yeah.
So talk about your chess background. How did you get into chess? How many years did you play chess? Do you still play it?
Oh boy. So my dad was a very good chess player, and so he had all of us kids play chess. And I started when I was, I want to say 5. And one of the funniest and one of the greatest stories about my dad is all of us kids were all very competitive, even when we were young. And so we were all also very sore losers. So we'd play chess, and we'd be playing against our dad when we were young, and he'd be beating us real bad. And then we'd be all upset. And he'd be like, okay. And then he'd switch the board. So he'd switch sides with us. So we'd now have the winning side, and he'd have the losing side. And then he'd beat us anyway. And so I absolutely love chess. It started when I was 5. I think I'm trying to remember, I was ranked 50 for some kind of rating group when I was around 8. And then
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was very good when I was a lot younger.
That helps me understand how you got to such a high ranking, because you play when you were younger.
Yeah, when I was really young, I played.
I thought you just got obsessed with it in college and you just got good at it.
No, so all the way up until I'd say 12, I was very much into it. I played a lot, and then I played in like a Southern California regional. I won like 5 games, played really, really great, and then I played the last game against the person. It was the final game. Whoever wins it wins the whole thing. And so I played against the ultimate winner of it, and I made a blunder in like 10 moves. I lost my queen, just a very bad idea, and that kind of, I didn't have the mindset I have now, and that kind of made me very upset, and that made me kind of stop playing chess for a while. And so I kind of stopped playing competitively after that point. And then it was only when COVID kind of came up in
stuck inside
2021. I was stuck
online.
inside. I went to online chess, and I really started picking it up back again, and I really started liking speed chess, where I play like 1 minute.
That sounds cool, because you had that same strategy.
Exactly.
Hey, you want to try wearing these?
Sure.
I think it'll help you.
Yeah.
I like these glasses because they're mirror, so they're not polarized.
Interesting.
In sports, everyone thinks polarized is better, but it makes the shadows more dynamic. This is just a mirror, so it's just like a tint, and maybe you'll like that. Maybe I can sell you on some mirror glasses.
I like it.
Can't believe you don't wear them out here when you're coaching all day.
I probably should. I probably should
Better
wear
for your eyes.
sunscreen too.
Yeah.
I should probably wear a bucket
hat
too.
Yeah.
And I probably will once I get more into the coaching. I'm still young and
Seems like you're pretty into it already. You had a big group of players here.
Yeah, that was.
And you have a clinic after this too, don't you?
Yeah, I have another clinic. Yeah, I do the drill clinics twice a week, and those are usually a pretty big hit. I think, I don't want to be like arrogant, but I think value for like money wise for what you get, I think that's probably like the best one, because it's $20 for an hour and a half, and so I think that's probably the best like
way to spend
value.
Money.
Yeah, so the best bang for your buck.
Yeah, for growing.
And I enjoy it because everyone who takes the drill clinics has this same kind of mindset as me. They're looking to get better. They're looking to drill, and so it's very, very nice, and it's very fun when you have students who are very clearly looking to learn, looking to get better. Because sometimes you have students who just want to be told they're doing great, who just want to hit the same ball over and over again. They're not as much worried about kind of learning as they're just there to go through the motions.
Yeah, and you have an excellent opportunity here at Palm Desert Resort, because there's so many players, such a great infrastructure to start coaching, and they can kind of funnel those leads to you. Yeah. Which you definitely deserve, because you're at the top there, and everyone wants that intel, which is why I enjoy being on the court with you. Okay, let's see where we're at next, Chiron. Okay, yeah, we kind of talked about Palm Desert Resort and your coaching career. Now let's get into the training and discipline. Do you have any pregame rituals for your tournaments?
So the only real like ritual I have, the big one, other than, I'll go through it all. The big one that I do every single tournament, and I'm gonna have to stop it at some point, is every night before I play a tournament, I get McDonald's. I get the same order from McDonald's.
Respect. I'm right there with you.
The problem is some days I play 5-0 men's and then mixed pro.
Yeah.
So I play 3 events, and that's 3 back-to-back days of McDonald's. And so that is a little bit tough.
That makes sense. It's not like you're playing one game.
Exactly. So I gotta I'm probably gonna have to move on a little bit from that.
Start the tournament with the McDicks, and then transition to some more healthy alternatives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's smart.
That's just the pregame tradition. I've done that for literally every tournament I can remember.
Did you do that in volleyball also?
Volleyball, no, I didn't really have a pregame tradition. The one I did kind of carry over from volleyball to here is when I warm up, I always warm up wearing pants. Like I
remember that.
I always wear pants.
And I'm glad you evolved out of that.
I
You
did.
could breathe, you know?
I used to wear pants even when I played tournaments. Like I would never ever wear shorts, but I like that I moved on.
I got some pants you might like. These are hiking pants. I started wearing hiking pants. They're just a lot lighter. So even if it's hot, it's still just as cool. And I can play pickleball in these no problem.
Gotcha.
And I like it. I got my phone pocket right here.
Do they not get too hot when you're hiking? They
No,
stay pretty
no.
cool?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They breathe.
Oh, awesome.
They're not like the typical pants. Yeah, and I keep the sun off me, which is great.
Awesome.
Okay, what does a typical day of training look like to you?
So, typical day of training now is a lot of times, and one thing I'm recently added, I'm going to keep adding, and I should, is kind of going to the gym, working with bands, because right now it's still very much playing, drilling. And so my typical day of training, a lot of times I'm here in the morning and I teach a little bit, But then I usually make sure at some point during the day, usually in the morning after I finish teaching, I'll go drill for around 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Best case scenario, I get to drill with Jill Braverman. She's like my training partner out here. She's a top 20 pro, amazing person. I'm a big Jilly B fan. I get to train with her all the time. I'm very lucky for that. I think that's a big reason I've gotten so much better. And so I'll drill with her. Sometimes I'll drill with Ivan. I'll drill with another young guy named Jake. But I make sure I try to get in every day at least about 2 hours of drilling.
I think I've heard of that young guy named Jake.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him play yet.
He's up and comer. I think he's going to be the next big thing out of
Cool.
Coachella
I can't wait
Valley.
to meet Jake.
Yeah, he's only 16, but he was a really good tennis player, really good pickleball player. I think he's going to be the next big guy who kind of explodes on the scene.
Have you got to play in his team? What was that?
He just won 5-0 mixed at San Clemente in this most recent tournament.
The recent one?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I've been hearing about Jake. I look forward to meeting you, Jake.
So he's great. So I make sure I kind of drill at least 2 hours a day, and then I like to typically do double sessions. So I'll drill in the morning, and then later in the evening I'll either drill again with someone different, or I'll kind of play rec games. A lot of times I'll try to set up games where I can play with my mixed partner, Claudia. And so me and her can kind of practice and play together. And I think that kind of mix up between just drilling and then kind of playing rec games with my partner and kind of working on stuff with her really keeps the game still fresh for me, allows me to keep enjoying it. I don't have the same kind of, and I think not many people do have that same kind of mindset and will that Ben and Colin have, where they can drill 100% of the time and still...
That's truly what they do, huh?
Yeah, and still enjoy their love for the sport. And so I like having a kind of, I think of it as kind of around 50-50, maybe 60-40 towards drilling. That's like my optimal
seems like
kind
the
of training
healthiest,
session.
For me, as far as like wanting to do whatever. I like drilling so much, it makes me feel good, but the games are so fun.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not as serious and you get to be creative.
Absolutely. And I think especially if you can, and this is something extremely hard, and I still am not perfect at it, and I didn't do it for my first few years, and I tell everyone who takes my clinics, one of the best things you can do is use rec games to kind of do exactly what you worked on in drilling. So that way you can see how it works out in a more kind of realistic, dynamic environment, because a lot of times people will work on something new or train something new in drilling. They'll go to rec, they'll miss once, they'll be like, okay, then they'll miss twice, and they'll be like, okay, let's go back to what I know. And then all that drilling, all that new technique we did,
I think we can all relate to that.
Kind of goes away. So I'm getting better at it, and so I take these rec games as an opportunity where now I'm not so worried about just winning the rec. I'm worried about kind of winning doing what I learned, doing what I've practiced over the week, trying to make myself better.
Makes sense, yeah. How do you maintain focus and discipline during training and competition? I think the chess parallel and the engineering parallel is probably the muscle you're tapping into that you can relate to, and your volleyball background.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to really explain, right, that focus?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I did play decently high-level volleyball. I was never going to be D1. I went to UCLA, so there was no chance I was playing in college, but I was pretty good. And I think the biggest thing that lets me maintain my focus, like for when I drill, for when I train, and then also for like when I go to tournaments, is one thing is I enjoy spending time. Everyone I drill with, everyone I train with, I enjoy spending time with them.
That's a huge plus. Isn't that great?
So it's very much,
I'm not grow in a different way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, for me, it's not just I'm drilling just to drill. It's like I'm trying to use all this focus to do something I don't want to do, something I don't enjoy. I enjoy being around these people. I enjoy drilling.
Absolutely.
So it allows the focus to come a lot easier.
And you both are inspired by pickleball, but that special friendship is really a beauty, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a blessing because we get to grow in different ways.
Exactly. And I think one of the greatest things is like, as you drill with someone, as you play with someone, you see both you and them get better as you come together. And so like them getting better kind of pushes you. You want to kind of be better. You want to get a little better too.
Become who you spend time with. You become who you spend time with. So your partner starts beating you up and you're like, what the heck? You got to keep up or you die.
And I'm lucky enough, everyone I drill with really has that same mentality and same focus when it comes to drilling. And
it's A players.
Hard to maintain focus when the other person's kind of just going through the motions. But
you're surrounded by A players now.
Exactly.
And you found that and you've earned that.
Exactly.
Okay, success and achievement. What has been your proudest moment so far in your career?
So my proudest moment so far, and probably it was my goal for last year, is me and Claudia, we played our first mixed pro and we made it to the main draw. And so that was pretty much my goal for last year, was just to make it to the pro main draw in PPA. And so we did that. I was very happy with that. I think me and her played great together, and we put up a decent fight. We played okay, but against Rafa Hewitt and Vivian Glausman.
Yeah.
And so we put up a good effort. They beat us, but I think a big thing is we learned a lot from it. But that's easily going to be my most proud moment, because that was really my goal. The whole year was to try and get to that main draw.
That's quite the goal you've achieved.
Exactly.
There.
And now my goal for this year is to try and get one win in the main draw of PPA.
Okay. It's another huge step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love Claudia. I love playing with her. She's an amazing player.
Yeah, I got to watch you play at Mission Hills when you guys won. So exciting.
Yeah.
I think I saw you guys played them again recently, that same team. And it was like
yeah,
1-11 and then 5.
Yeah. We
or
played
8-11.
Yeah, we played against Shelly. She had a different partner, but yeah.
Oh,
we
different
played against-
partner.
Yeah, we
Okay.
played against Shelly again.
Okay, how do you manage the pressure and expectations that come with being one of the top players?
So that is something that has taken me a lot of time to do, and especially like as I was coming up, I very much wanted to kind of prove myself, and Morgan told me it was going to happen, especially out here. When I go and play tournaments, I go into with the mindset of like I try to think of myself as like the best player on the court, and I play best when I do that. And so I try to go in with that mindset.
Yeah, that's smart.
One of the problems with having that mindset when you come down here and I drill or I play rec is I would very much be care way too much about proving that I was the best, proving that I could win every game and do that. And what would happen is I'd play rec, and a lot of times I would completely abandon stuff I was working on, abandon stuff I was training, start taking every ball, start playing solely to win, just because even though it doesn't really matter, it's just a rec game, we're all having fun, we're all trying to get better, I cared a lot about proving that I was the best, proving that I could win. And it was around a few months ago when I had a lesson with Morgan, I was talking to Morgan about it, and he was telling me there's going to come a time where you have to decide, like, do you just care about being the big fish in a small pond? All you care about is just winning where you're at and just proving to everyone how good you are? Or do you care about getting to better? Do you care about your results are going to come? So you don't need to prove to anyone
the truth
how
always
good
reign.
you are. Exactly. You don't need to prove to anyone how good you are. Whether you win or lose, people know you. People know how good you are. Whether they like you or whether you're not. All you can really do is keep working to get better. And so I owe a lot to Morgan, greatest coach in the world.
So how's that been? It's only been like 2 months with that new mentality. You've had that other mentality for so long. It's not as easy as just, okay, you understand the philosophy, but it's probably still working on it maybe, right? Like, you don't play that many rec games though.
Exactly.
And even in those private things, you still probably experience that. You want to show that, you belong here.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think, and it's been, those 2 months was when I think I was really able to kind of shift, because I had been trying to shift.
Was it that easy?
It wasn't easy, but it's been at least a year since I started trying to shift it, and it was only a few months ago when I really.
You're seeing the results. You're actually growing more because you've let go.
Yeah.
And been able to create in that environment.
I think one thing is, first of all, I think it allows me to work on stuff and get better in rec games. But I think the other thing is it allows me and the players I play with to also have a lot more fun, because that way I'm not going to try to, once I go down, I'm not going to take over 90% of the court and try to force the win.
I've had that philosophy for the whole time pretty much. And the thing is about that is that everyone grows.
Yeah.
And you end up getting more out of everyone, so I still end up growing more. Yeah. Even though the game was close or I lost, but because I didn't take every ball and because I wasn't just targeting, everyone grew more, everyone got the ball more, I just got a better experience, so I ended up growing in the long term. But I gotta say, seeing your other philosophy, I always contemplated which way was right. I mean, it's all on your own journey, right? Because focusing on winning also helps when it comes to the tournament.
Yeah.
Right? So you know how to use that muscle. When I started playing tournaments, I was just hitting it to the better. I was like, well, this is just fun still.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough one.
And I think from what I've seen,
turning it on and off is probably how you got to do it, right? And I've been working on that, turning it on and off.
What I've seen when I talk to some of the top players and some of the top players in other sports is typically at the highest level, you start to see the win mentality come out. The hyper competitive needs to win mentality comes out a lot more, and the higher and higher you go. And I think that's because that kind of mentality that's the mentality for someone who's going to force themselves to kind of train every day, to force themselves to kind of be the best.
I get it, but there's still times when this is what you got,
Yeah.
and how do I grow the most out of the situation?
100%. I think
So
that's
having
the
that
big thing.
switch.
The difference between them and the kind of people who are like trying to get better and kind of doing a hard part, because they care so much about winning, they'll only play with people worse than them. I think the best players,
I see.
they
Yeah.
they really care about winning, but they care about winning against the best. They care about winning, earning their wins more than anything else.
So it's safe to say you kind of have both those mindsets and you decide which one to choose.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at, and that's been very helpful for my development, for sure. Okay, advice for inspiring athletes. What advice would you give to athletes who aspire to reach your level? You've kind of talked a lot about that so far. Like the group clinics is a good one because you get to spend time with a high-level player and it doesn't cost the full amount. Drilling, obviously. Playing with players better than you. These
Absolutely.
mindsets we spoke about. Understanding when to use them. Anything else?
I think the two biggest things for anyone trying to get better at this sport is one, to find a drilling partner who preferably is better than you and who you can train with consistently. And the other big thing is you need to find a coach who can give you like a private lesson, or a coach who's very mechanics based, who can kind of teach you early on to kind of fix your bad habits before they develop.
Yeah.
I was personally at a point where I was able to get to about 4 or 5 rating, where I was just still had pretty bad mechanics on everything, but just by being more consistent with people, I was able to do well at 4 or 5 tournaments just by not erring.
Yeah.
And it was
by
only,
practice.
but I did plateau. It was very hard to get any better. And it was only after I sought out Morgan Evans, the greatest coach on
Specialty
earth.
type training.
Yeah, and he's very much a mechanics-based coach, and he pretty much taught me these proper mechanics, and that's how I was able to get better. So I think it's very important, especially if you don't have a tennis background or a background where you really understand the body mechanics, that you go to a very good player or a very good coach who does understand that, and it can kind of show you how to do stuff properly to where
the framework of your fundamentals.
Exactly. Something that will work all the way to the highest level.
Yeah, that helped me a lot too. Like Tad played tennis for so long, and he taught me the footwork, how to hit the ball, overheads, just to have a simple framework, since I didn't play any sport with the ball before. So that helped me. And then once I got up to like the higher level, Morgan, breaking it down mechanically, like you said, that was huge. That was a big difference. He finds little things that you're not doing that you could be doing. Is there anything you wish you knew? Is there anything you wish you knew when you started your career?
I wish I knew about pickleball 2 years before I started, firstly. So then I could have had those 2 years, because pickleball is only getting
huge,
faster and
exponential
faster.
growth. So getting to your goal it's become much harder each year.
Absolutely. So for someone who started now, it's so much astronomically harder than for me when I started 3 years ago. And that my journey was so astronomically harder than someone who started 3 years before that. And it's only going to get more and more like that. So I was lucky to start early. I wish I, from the very beginning, was willing to kind of go to Morgan and kind of seek out this kind of mechanics training early on. Because there was a very long period of time, like a few months, where I was not getting any better, where I had kind of reached the highest level I could with the way I was playing, with the mechanics I was playing.
Practice all you want, but you got to get the specialty.
Yeah, but I didn't even know until I actually went to him and he pointed out to me. So I wish I knew that earlier on.
Of course,
that's a few 4 or 5 months that I could have been using to be further along.
Makes sense, yeah. If you can just get Morgan from day one, that'd be great.
Oh, exactly.
But if you can't, the group ones are good because you're going to get some type of critique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think especially as you're coming up, and especially if you are just kind of like working on kind of the very beginning fundamentals, I think kind of clinics where a coach can kind of show you the shot and then where you can practice it and then you can just see it, great, that's perfect. And it's only once you start getting to a bit higher level where you start needing very much individualized advice for your own technique.
To get through those plateaus.
Exactly.
Yeah, and higher level players to beat you up.
Exactly.
Basically. Okay, we got 2 more questions, Chiron. For the players who are beating you today, how are they doing it?
So a lot of the players that are beating me today, I think one of the big things that I'm working on too is, one, my backhand is nowhere near as strong as my forehand, and that's just an aspect. I play with a far over Eastern grip, so I have a very good forehand and a much weaker kind of backhand. So what happens a lot of times where I lose is a player who has a very, very good
Those
spinning,
high-level tennis players, backhands are
exactly,
insane.
and they will hit very, very kind of good low balls to my backhand, and I have a lot of trouble.
For defense?
Yeah, so like whether it's a drive, whether they're consistently dinking low to my backhand, I have a lot of trouble doing anything very kind of aggressive or being able to block it very effectively. So that's something I've been working on. That's why I developed a two-hand backhand. So a lot of times that's one way they can beat me. And the other big thing is a lot of times it's against players who are very good at kind of moving me around and then speeding up, not at my body, but where I have to kind of fully reach and extend for the ball. So my grip is very good at covering everything very tight to my body. And as long as I can kind of stay in front of the ball, and I very much like to move to stay in front of the ball. But sometimes you play against players who are very good at kind of rolling you out wide, pulling you back middle. And where I have to constantly moving and I'm trying to block on the move, that's when I very much get into trouble.
Understood. It's good to know that you're aware and that's what you're focusing on growing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That two-hand you've been working on for a little bit.
Exactly.
That's going to fill in that hole right there.
Exactly. That's
your grip,
the goal.
It works easily with your left hand. Is it easy to get your left hand on there? Or?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely not as good as a continental two-hand backhand, but I think it is very good for a kind of push backhand where you kind of shove it back. So I've accepted, no matter how good I get, body mechanics just dictate I'll never have the greatest two-hand backhand in the world.
Oh, okay.
But I can keep working on it, and I can get it to a point where it is its own kind of weapon in itself, and it can be used as a tool to get to my forehand. Because I think I have a better forehand, especially I have a shot that not many people have where you can hit a forehand on the left like this pretty easily. Yeah. And so as long as I use my two-hand in the right situation and I use it effectively, I can get to a point where it's very, very good and it can be a kind of weapon for myself instead of always being a liability.
So that answers my last question, which what is it you're working on right now? And just your weaknesses, right?
Yeah, absolutely that. And then the one other big thing I'm working on right now is speeding up off the bounce. If you ask any of my coaches, they'll all say I should never speed up off the bounce. They're so bad. It's just not good. It's something I never kind of practice because when I was first going up, they're like, oh, don't speed up off the bounce. It's bad. You got to be patient. But now as I'm going higher and higher, especially as I'm playing higher level mixed, it's very important to be able to kind of initiate the firefight and then finish it. And that's something I'm not very good at.
I always respect that about you, being unorthodox like that. And yeah, it's good to have as many tricks as you can, even if you used it one time.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's it, Chiron. Thank you very much for your time today. That was a lot of fun.